Hi, it's Bex here from channel bexbugoutsurvivor, and it's another modification, this time to the Northern Ireland patrol sack. Now then, what the plan is to add rocket pockets to the side of the Northern Ireland patrol sack. But you can easily turn this into a day and night pack by extending the load carriage by another 10 litres, keeping your sleeping bag on top in the compression sack rather than inside the pack like the much bigger and heavier Bergen. So let's have a look at where I'm up to so far. Now you can tell the difference now I've sewn this one on here, the kind of capacity it's going to give you, the extra space, and it is so worth doing this little modification. I've left a bit of stitching here left to do and a little bit down the bottom just so we can see the needle work and how to do that. Then we're going to move on to removing this side here and replacing it with one of these. It's the PLCE rocket pocket off the S90 Bergen. Now I'm going to assume that this original pocket on the side of the Northern Ireland pack is about 5 litres. So I had 5 litres on this side, 5 litres on the other, giving an outside occupation of about 10 litres. I'm going to upscale to 10 litres either side, so that's 10 and 10 is 20. And if these were 5, that's an extra 10 litres capacity. Without any further ado, I'll show you the sewing kit. I'll be using sewing awls. The kind of sewing awl I have is basic, it's standard. You don't need them you find on the internet that has a bobbin and a wheel, a screw top. You don't need anything like that. Keep it basic, learn how to use a good sewing awl. The thread I'll be using is this here. This is 150 denier waxed thread. I found a good razor blade like that is best for unpicking the stitches. You can use a seam ripper, or if you haven't got a straight edge shaving razor like this, you could just use a double edge razor blade like that. I'm going to take myself a little piece off the reel. You don't have to do this, you can keep it on the reel, it's just easier. And then all I need to do is thread it. Now the eyelet here is at the tip of the sewing awl. Don't be tempted to get one of them gimmick type sewing awls that has the bobbin. There is no need. It's so much easier learning to use a proper sewing awl. I have a bit of tape on the end here, and that is so I can feel which way is up, because there is an up and a down, and I marked it also with a pen mark there, because when my hand is inside the pouch I can't see what I'm doing. I don't know which way is up, which way is down, and that is important because it has a recess. Yeah, it's not going to focus, but this top part is flat and underneath here is rounded, and I'll need to make a loop by pulling a loop of thread out like that to make the stitch, hence a bit of tape there so I can feel which way the recess is facing. Now if you don't know how to use a sewing awl, you've never used one, don't be daunted by it. It's like anything else, it's just something you need to learn, and you can practice on a scrap bit of fabric. I'm going to show you 2 or 3 stitches here, but there is a full how to use a sewing awl on this channel, and I'll link it in the description so you can get to know your sewing awl, and then you'll feel more confident using one. I've stitched all the way up apart from this little last bit here, and I've saved a bit so you can see how to do the stitches. As you saw, we've loaded up the sewing awl. I need the recess face down, come into the pouch, and I want to poke a hole coming out of here, and then that needle has to go into the pack. So my left hand is in the pouch and my right hand is in the pack, back almost to the same place I put that first stitch. Get my hand in the pack, now it's gone through the pouch and the pack. Orientate the sewing awl, and I make a loop on the end of the sewing awl. There's that loop, and I've got my orientation, and with that spare tail I'll just pop it through the loop, and then when I pull tight on this pigtail and pull the sewing awl, it will create the first stitch. So I feel for the recess, I pull the loop, put the tail through the loop, and then I can pull the sewing awl back out and tighten on both sides. Now, like I said, there is a full how-to close-up, very detailed video. This sewing awl here has only come out about 3mm higher than my last stitch. That's all it needs to be. Don't be tempted to put big stitches in trying to get the job done faster. Second stitch going in. I feel for that sticky tape I've put on the handle, and it's quite good you're not seeing this because I'm sewing blind as well. You're seeing as much as I am. There, and there's a second stitch in, totally blind. So it is a job you can do without looking. It's a feel that you get when you do jobs like this. But please go and watch the full how to use a sewing awl on my channel. It's a lot more detailed. Once you get into a flow, you'll soon pick up the speed and how to do it. I've made a loop, I find the tail, bring the tail through the loop and pull both parts, stitch number 3 in. So it's not a fast process, but this is going to be near impossible doing it on a sewing machine, and using a leathercraft needle works also, but that is time consuming and you can get quite fast at this. There's my sewing awl inside the pouch, there's my sticky tape in green. I can feel for that on my thumb, so now I can make a loop knowing I'm orientated in the correct rotation. So here's a needle, it's come through the actual pack. I've orientated the recess facing me, pull back on the sewing awl to release some tension to make this loop here, and then reach inside the loop, pull the tail out, and I can tighten up the stitch by pulling on the sewing awl on the pigtail thread. And now it's a case of just running the needle all the way up to the top of the pouch. Then I can keep a straight line because the actual existing pouch is exactly where I need to stitch here, and I'll show you all the placement where all the stitches are going when we come to do the other side. A lot of people are going to be asking at this point, why did I strip all the zips off the existing rocket pouch and sew the zips onto the Northern Ireland pack. Now that was an option in the beginning. Should I just sew zips on so I can zip and unzip the rocket pockets on and off the Northern Ireland pack? I saw little benefit to it because the actual Northern Ireland pack is 30 litres and 2 rocket pockets connected together and used as a backpack is 20 litres. But that's why I've removed the zips. You don't have to. If you feel more comfortable sewing a zip, you can do that. Right, I need to finish off this little bit of stitching, then I'm coming to the other side of the Northern Ireland pack and removing the existing pouch. Okay, now it's time to remove the existing pouch from the side of the Northern Ireland patrol sack. I want you to look at how I'm going to place this, because this is key. This is the existing pouch that we're going to take off. Let me just roll it over to its side and have a look where we're going to sew the new one on. I need to take off the old pouch on this grow grain here where my finger is, but lower down from the pouch is a seam there, and that is where we're going to sew the new pouch. And if we rotate it round, there's the other side of the pouch, and the new pouch will go on that line. So I'm going to clear out the pouch, and it's a damn good pouch this as well. I'm not wasting it in any way. What I'll be doing is putting it onto another project, and just take out my Wooby a minute because I need access to it. Okay, inside my little sewing box I have a seam ripper which looks like this. It's only about 2 or 3 quid from a supermarket, and I can unpick the stitches. Once I got the stitches started, I'm going to get a blade and very gently only cut the stitches. So it's this row of stitch in here, not the lower one, this one here that I need to just slip under and start picking the stitches out. And I want to try and keep the pack as intact as I can, because like I said, I do want to use these pouches on another project. At this point I can probably get a razor in and loosen them stitches. If you feel uncomfortable using blades like I am, you can put some leather gloves on or just stick to the seam ripper. But I've been using blades a long time. But all it is a slicing motion now up all these stitches. In again, slice. In again, slice. Now I can get my finger in and start pulling this apart. Like that. And it started to come away, this pouch, from the pack. And I do have a better little blade, which is my straight edge razor that I used to shave with. I've got better than this now, and it's just a case of whittling this up and down along them stitches without cutting into the pack. So I'll just force the 2 parts open. I can reveal a stitch here, and the minute the blade touches there, it opens up another 2 stitches. Force it apart, just go into the actual stitching itself, not into the pack. So that pouch has been removed, and as you can see, the lid is sewn separate to the actual pouch itself. And inside the pouch you can see it has a PU coating, waterproof coating, a snow collar on the toddle. Bloody good little pouch. Can't wait to put that onto another project. So I'm going to play about getting all these loose threads out and reposition the bigger rocket pocket. I just need to pick 2 out of the 4 rocket pockets. This one here is the one that's fully modified with the extra little pocket on the side and a lid on a lid, so I'm not going to use that one. This one here is a little older. This one has the yoke pre-attached, so I might just keep that as it is just for convenience and use these 2 here. To strip back the components, I'm going to take the actual zip off with just little nail scissors. I can get quite detailed with that, and the razor blade will easily go through the webbing. I have all this webbing here to remove. Now obviously I don't have to, but it's going to make it so much easier for me. And all I'm doing is bringing the razor in and cutting through the stitches, being careful not to cut into the actual rocket pocket itself. And I've made a start. I can pull that away like that, and I just need to do 1 stitch at a time and remove all the webbing. Just take my time and everything will come off. Now I'm not going to show you me doing all of this. I'm just going to come back to you in a few minutes. I also like to use these cutthroat razors, and I've got a lot of salvage left over here, so I've got some good QR clips to use towards other projects. And the final stage is just trimming off the zip here, and little nail scissors will get me close enough to the actual pack itself without going through it. This is quite a straightforward project, something you could do on one of them rainy Sunday mornings like it is here now. So I'm going to position it so the seam on the pouch, the corner seam which is there, comes all the way down right into the corner of the pouch here. So I've got the 2 bottom seams matching up. Now I can put a pen mark halfway down on both the pack and the pouch. That seam comes onto this seam. Get myself a pen. Now this is going to ensure the placement is square when I want it, and I'll be sewing from the halfway point up to the top, and from the halfway point separately down to the bottom of the pack. The best way to sew this is, I think, getting the sewing all into the pouch and making the loop inside the pack. So I'm going to load up a sewing awl. This is going to be particularly difficult for me being left-handed doing this pouch. So again, I'm going to take my time and remove the pouch for the first stitch, put my hand in and bring the needle out to the back of the seam, the original seam, and there it is coming out there. So I'm not coming out at the front seam, I'm coming out at the back with that needle there. Now that needle there, find that halfway point in the pack. And like I said, get it close to the seam of the pack also. So where's that pen line? Here's my pen line here. And I can bring the needle as close to this seam as I possibly can. So in like that. I'll need to put my hand inside the pack to catch the needle. Well, that went through pretty quick. Nice job. Rotate the sewing awl and just bring out one of the strands to start me off, and then we're ready to start with the first stitch. There we have it. So I've half the thread inside the pack and half the thread in the pouch, and I should have plenty of length here. If anything, I need a bit more length on the thread of the sewing awl. Now I'm ready to put the first stitch in, which will be in the pouch. I want to come out about 3mm down from that existing first stitch there. So there's the existing stitch. Bring out the needle. There you go. It's only about 3mm that. And again, bring it in 3mm above the last stitch of the pack and push that through. Hand back inside the pack to catch the needle. I can feel for it. I have to be gentle because it is really sharp. Okay, I'm ready to make the loop and start sewing. Now, because at this point you're going to see very little of the stitching, as you can see, my hands are inside the pack, you won't see very much. So I'll come to you intermittently as this project progresses. Okay, that is quarter of the pack sewn on from the middle up. Now I'll show you how far we need to stitch. So this is the pouch, this is the pack, and here is the top where the zip is on the rocket pocket. We need to come all the way up to the top seam here, the very top of the lid. So all that needs to be sewn on, so we don't stop stitching where the zip is. We need to carry on right to the top. Now it's not as quick as a sewing machine using a sewing awl, as you can imagine. I wouldn't even know how to start with a machine with that, and like I said, it is pretty tough material to work with as it is. You're really better off with a sewing awl. Over here are some of the excess I have in this thread here, the 150 denier wax thread, and in the sewing box I have a leather craft needle, and I use them smaller offcuts of thread and a decent needle like I said, a leather craft needle to put extra stitches in the top and the bottom, and I did them by hand. So I finished the sewing all here and put at least 2 or 3 hand stitches there with them loose threads. Okay, just need to carry on. Now I will be back to you as soon as I've finished this section here and also the other side, and I'm not going across the top and the bottom, so it'll be hollow on the inside. Okay, one side is on from the bottom to the top, but now we need to find out where it is I sew the other side of that pouch to the pack, and I'll show you what's worked for me. That side has been sewn from top to bottom. I just need to put a couple of securing stitches top and bottom. Last job to do that. Let's fold over that there, get an orientation. This is the front of the pack, the bottom of the pack, the top of the pack, and there's an existing stitch line here where the other pouch came off. That is exactly where the new pouch is gonna be sewn in, right up and exactly on that line there. And as you can see, the sun is, I'll have to hide you with my hat, the sun's come out. I'm going to take this jumper off. It was pretty chilly when I started that here in the conservatory. So here it is, all finished up with the 2 PLCE rocket pockets on, and obviously the old ones have been removed and I'm not going to throw them. I've got other projects for them. What a remarkable difference this has made. The original pockets that came with this were neither here nor there. I couldn't get the larger items in I wanted, and the other kind of sundries were dwarfed in 5 litres of the original, and I've upscaled to 10 litres either side. So now I've got a really good occupation space for a shelter kit on one side, the cooking set on the other, because I don't like to stop and start diving inside the pack every time I want to put a tarp up and get the stove out. All them elements I want on the outside of the pack, and this has enabled that. Next is to attach the sleeping bag to the top and the roll pads underneath via some bungees for now. I also have the inflatable rolled up inside the foam mat here. So let's build up this here and see how the finish looks. So here it is in all its glory, dressed to kill, with the air pad, the foam mat, the sleeping bag, the bivvy, the tarp, spare clothing, wets and dries, the food rations, everything that would be in the S90 PLC e-Bergen is in or on this. So I'm going to put it on and have a look and have a feel for it. Well, that feels pretty good. Now, I am used to carrying my kit like this in the Northern Ireland pack with the sleeping bag up here. That's nothing new. It's just I have larger side pockets, which has made all the difference to the style of camping I do and want to do in the future. Because the sleeping bag is stowed externally with bungee cords up here, what I'm thinking now is to have webbing straps come up and over and click in with QR clips, so this lid can come off. And I was thinking of putting it further down here on the front, and then that way I have access to either a first aid, if that's what I want to put in there, or my sundries such as ablutions kit, illumination, fire making kit and so forth. All in all, I'm very happy with it, and I'm not keen on the S90. It's just too heavy, too uncomfortable, and if I have an option to make things lighter and more comfortable, of course I'm going to choose the lighter, more comfortable option. And the lighter, more comfortable option is this here. So until next time, take good care of yourself, and I'll see you out there. Happy trails.